Hello, I'm Lauren Green, and you're in the strategy room. House Speaker Paul Ryan ruffling some feathers in the Republican Party with comments yesterday saying he's just not ready to back presumptive nominee Donald Trump. The businessman firing back at Ryan in a statement saying he isn't ready to support the Speaker's agenda. The two will reportedly meet next week in an effort to clear the air. Joining me now with reaction are Iona College professor Jeanne Zaino and Republican strategist Brian Morgenstern. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Okay, Brian, what do you make of this? Further fracturing of the GOP.
Yeah. You know, there are a number of explanations I've heard. One is giving cover to House Republicans so that they can put a face on the non-Trump Republican movement. Another is that Ryan is presenting this alternative agenda to lay the groundwork for his own presidential run in 4 years. I prefer to break it down into something much more simple, which is that he was being honest. And there are so many...
No strategy here. I'm just not ready to do it.
There are so many people in the party who feel that way, who maybe backed other candidates who, value consistent conservatism, and that's the way things have gone their whole life. And so now they're kind of shell-shocked and gobsmacked by the fact that Donald Trump is the nominee, and they just need some time to come to grips with it.
Well, that's very interesting because, Jeanne, Ryan said he would support the GOP nominee. I mean, and he's not quite jumping on the bandwagon yet. What is it, a matter of timing, or is it what's happening here?
Yeah, I think there are a couple things, and I love the use of the term gobsmacked. I haven't heard that forever, but I think you're right. Given how fractured the GOP has gotten throughout this process, I have to say I took a completely different view from most people. I thought his remarks were very measured. They are very different on policy. Everything from his views on Muslims coming into the country to his views on Social Security. I mean, they're very different on policy. There is a concern that Donald Trump could cost them some seats in the House, and that would be a challenge for Paul Ryan leading the House. And of course, there is the issue of temperament. Paul Ryan and Donald Trump are very different people. So I heard his remarks, and I thought they were pretty measured remarks. I mean, he said, I want to get there. I want to support him. It's going to take some time, and I think we have to heal, bring the party together. And I think he's right about that. And I actually thought Trump's remarks in the aftermath were pretty measured as well, although I think he could have been a little bit more towards the unity end than towards the, I don't know if I'll support his agenda either. Yeah. But, for the most part, I don't know how anybody's surprised by this. This is a party that's been through the ringer, and we are still, more than a month away from this convention. I think there's time to heal that rift.
Okay, but Brian, we've got some establishment Republicans here, Romney, McCain, George Bush. They have no plans to back Trump. Not only that, I don't think they have any plans to show up to the convention.
Right, and that, but that, as this primary has borne out, may not matter a whole heck of a lot, because if the convention really is the show that Trump says it's going to be, and that enough leaders get on board, and there's enough people willing to not oppose him, like Senator Kelly Ayotte's position, for example, just to say, I'm going to support the nominee. That doesn't mean she's going to go out and campaign for him and give speeches on his behalf. If people will stay out of the way, I think he'll be fine, in terms of the ball being in his court as to, whether he wants to unify or not.
Right, right.
Regular old voters, as we've seen in the primary, don't really care about what Mitt Romney or John McCain have to say. They're not running. Endorsements have always, in my view, been overblown. And so I think this is just another, one of those things. It's newsworthy, it's worth reporting, but I think your regular voter doesn't really care.
Well, Jeanne, talking about the unifying of the Republican Party, can Trump do this? I mean, can he get this behind him, the conflict, and bring the party together, or is that not his M.O.? Are they still going to clash when it comes to what their agendas will be?
I think he does have it in him to do this, but I think does he really, really commit to bringing the party together, or does he decide, it has worked for me so far to run like a maverick?
But he is a bit of a lone wolf in that sense.
He's a bit of a lone wolf in that sense. I think you're absolutely right. And you had Paul Ryan saying, look, you inherited the mantle of this institution that we all cherish, and now it is your responsibility to bring us together. Donald Trump may see that differently. He may feel like, as he said, I got the votes. I didn't inherit this. I won, and you have to follow me. So I think we're going to have to wait and see if Donald Trump is going to pivot and say, look, we have to consolidate the party. I am not convinced he is going to do that in the way people like the Bushes or, the Doles or the McCains or these other people, Romney certainly really want him to. You know, is their absence at the convention going to matter? In the short term, no, but I think for the long-term future of the party is going to have to figure out, you simply can't have a party where every recent nominee is absent from the convention except for maybe Bob Dole, who will show up for a bit.
Right, very interesting stuff. I think we're seeing the beginning of a sort of a changing of the guard with the GOP.
And a very new party, I think.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much, Jeanne and Brian, for being here.
Thank you.
And for complete coverage of the 2016 election, go to foxnews.com. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.